Have you ever thought that maybe we've been looking at grammar all wrong? What if it isn't just a dusty old book of rules, but a dynamic set of instructions, a literal map for your mind? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today, a fascinating framework that completely rethinks language from the ground up.
So let's just start with this one big question. What if every single grammatical feature, person, number, tense, wasn't just describing words on a page, but was actually giving your mind coordinates for how to process information? It's a pretty wild idea, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack.
Okay, so to get our heads around this model, we first have to look at grammar through two completely different lenses. So this model basically splits the whole concept in two. On one hand, you've got external grammar. This is the stuff we all learned in school. Nouns, verbs, sentence structure. It's all about describing the text itself. But on the other hand, and this is where it gets interesting, we have internal grammar. The idea here is that these same grammatical tags are also a coordinate system, telling our minds exactly where and how to perform an operation.
So, if grammar is a coordinate system, what does the map actually look like? Come on, let's lay out the basic structure of this conceptual internal world.
The model starts with a really simple symbolic layout. Just picture the mind with two hemispheres, a left side, which the model labels female, and a right side labeled male. Now, this is absolutely crucial. These are not biological or social descriptions at all. Think of them as just map coordinates, kind of like port and starboard on a ship. They're just directional tags. And separating them is a central middle line. And right along that central line, the model places three fixed junctions. For now, we don't really need to get into what they do. The key thing is that they act like stable landmarks on our map, fixed points that let all the grammatical instructions figure out where they are.
Okay, so we have our map, two hemispheres, three junctions. But how do we navigate it? Well, this is where grammar comes in. The grammatical features of a text become our directional signals, our GPS.
Let's start with grammatical number. It's pretty straightforward. In this system, singular is like dropping a pin on a single specific spot on our map. Plural, on the other hand, lights up a whole network of locations, multiple points getting activated all at once, maybe in one hemisphere or even across the entire map.
Next up is person. This is all about direction and perspective. First person, that's I or we, signals an operation that's coming from inside the system itself. Second person, you, is a direct address to the system. And third person, he, she, they, well, that refers to something that's being observed from a distance, instead of being the source or the target.
Now, let's talk about gender, because this is really important. In this model, grammatical gender is used purely as a directional tag. That's it. A masculine word is just a label pointing toward the symbolic male or right hemisphere. A feminine word points to the female or left side. And neuter? That's for neutral elements that either side can use. It's just a labeling system for the map's different zones.
And here's where verbs become the action part of the map. You can think of a verb as a detailed work order. Its mood tells you the type of job. Is it a command, a statement, or just a possibility? Its tense and aspect describe the timing. Is this a single, finished action or an ongoing process? And its voice tells you who's in charge. So a verb isn't just a word, it's a complete operational command for the mind.
All right, that was a lot of theory, so let's move to a concrete example and see how this all comes together. We're going to apply this whole mapping system to a specific phrase from the Gospel of Luke. The line comes from Luke, chapter 9, verse 13. The key command given is, "You give them something to eat." We're going to zoom in on just the first two words of that command in the original Greek.
So first, let's look at the external grammar, the nuts and bolts, of the Greek phrase dote umes, which means you give. It's second person, plural, it's in the imperative mood, it's active voice, and it uses what's called the aorist tense. All you really need to know about aorist is that it describes an action as one single complete event. Think of it like a snapshot, not a video. So, this is the raw data we're going to feed into our map.
Okay, now for the fun part. Let's translate that into our internal coordinate system. Second person plural means the command is addressing the mind directly and at multiple points all at the same time. Imperative mood confirms, yep, this is a direct instruction. And that aorist tense, it tells the mind to process this as one single complete block of action. So when you put all that together, this isn't just a suggestion. According to this model, it's a decisive, multi-point instruction being fired across the entire internal map. So after seeing that example in action, what's the big takeaway? Well, this framework is really suggesting an entirely new way to approach a text.
What this all means is that grammar stops being just a descriptive tool. It becomes a functional blueprint. It's an instruction set showing not just what a text says, but where in the mind it's supposed to become active and what it's supposed to do there. It really suggests that some texts aren't just meant to be understood, they're designed to be experienced, almost like software running in your mind.
And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to end on. If a text can be a map, and its grammar is the set of directions, then what other layers of meaning, what other hidden instructions might we be missing, just because we've only been reading the words on the page instead of following the map in our minds?